Hello and welcome back to another episode of Better Together at English with Shinrai Sensei. Sorry for the day late upload. Just been very busy at my job, so I couldn't quite record the episode earlier today since I was there literally all day. So gonna go ahead and record this, and it'll just be uploaded, in a couple hours, which will be unfortunately a Thursday rather than my typical Wednesday. So I am very sorry. Hope you guys can forgive me, but let's get into the lesson so that you guys can still get something out of this, right? So today we're covering intensive pronouns. Now think of the intensive pronoun as something your intensity is focusing on calling attention back to the subject of the sentence, right? Back to the person who's taking action, right? So the intensive pronoun is calling the attention back to who took the action, right? So, my brother tied his shoes himself. This is called an antecedent. My brother is called the antecedent because he's the person that took action, or in this case, it's he's the person that took action. But in general, the subject is taking action, and the intensive pronoun is at the end to call back to, or is after the action to call back to who took the action, right? So, in this case, my brother tied his shoes himself. The intensive pronoun simply brings attention back to the antecedent. Who tied his shoes? Himself? My brother, right? So if you were to just slap a he right here instead of my brother, it doesn't make sense. He tied his shoes himself. Won't make sense unless we already know that we're talking about my brother, right? So in this case, since we don't know, all of us don't know that we're talking about my brother, we have to reference my brother, right? But my brother tied his shoes himself. The intensive pronoun is basically somebody acting like they didn't hear that you said my brother. So it's like if somebody only heard tied his shoes himself, you go, who tied his shoes himself? Oh, my brother did, right? And so the intensive pronoun calls back to, hey, it was my brother, right? And in this example, I saw aliens myself. Just like a little kid. Little kids use this a lot, especially when they're learning new things or they're learning how to whistle. They're learning how to tie their shoes. They're learning how to kick a skateboard or something like that. Little kids do this a lot where they say, I did it all by myself. I went and I jumped in the pool all by myself. I went and I, went to the doctor and got my shot all by myself. Little kids do this a lot, right? And so that intensive pronoun is saying, pay attention to the thing that took the action, right? So look, that guy did it. Or look, I did it, right? That's what this intensive pronoun is. He ate the steak himself. Who ate the steak? He ate the steak. So you're saying he ate the steak. Who ate the steak? He did. And it constantly calls back to the antecedent. So it says, bring attention back to him. Bring attention back to it. Bring attention back to her. Bring attention back to whatever it is. Me, So in this sentence, it's he you're trying to pay attention to. So that guy ate the steak all by himself. Who did it? That guy. Right? And so just imagine in these sentences that you've got someone saying who or what. If you're talking about an it, you say what. And then you say he did it. Right? So if I say he ate the steak himself, imagine that somebody else is standing on the other side and saying, who did? He did, right? Chiho cooked the rice herself, right? Who did? Chiho did. Mirei baked the cookies herself. Who did? Mirei did. So like I said, think of this as just somebody pointing back to whoever they're talking about, right? So you could sit here and you could just say, yeah, Chiho baked the cookies Chiho cooked the rice all by herself. Who did? Chiho. Or Mirei baked the cookies all by herself. Who did? Mirei. Right? So just think of it as somebody's asking you who did something, and that's why you have to emphasize they did it and that they did it themselves, right? They did it on their own. They did it, and it was just them. That's another thing that this is about, is it's emphasizing that these people were the ones that did it and that nobody else did it, right? So, yeah, Mirei baked the cookies, and while other people were baking cookies, right, the cookies meet a baked, right? And that's another thing you'll see a lot. You'll see the, because you're isolating that thing that they're acting upon, right? So this object here that they act on, ate the steak, right, is usually going to be preceded by the, because it's going to be like you're isolating that specific one, right? Not always. Once, you know, I'll say not always, because there are plenty of times that it'll be like, hey, he ate a steak himself, or he cooked rice himself, or whatever. But you will often see that isolating, you know, type of it's isolating language right there, where you say the instead of a, because a means any of these, the means that one, right? But that's a lesson for another time. Going back to this, if you guys do have any questions on this, or you're not quite clear on something, please let me know. But otherwise, I think that about wraps it up. Please let me know if you do have any questions. Leave them in the comments section. I respond to every comment that I get so far. Not been super big and super busy yet, so just I'm keeping up with it as best I can. But I do appreciate you guys' patience in waiting the extra day for getting your lesson, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week when we talk about reflexive pronouns, right? So I look forward to seeing you guys next week, and thank you guys for your patience again, and you guys take care of yourselves, all right? Peace.